Welcome to the Jonathan Smyers Celtics / NBA podcast. That's the unofficial title for now. And we're gonna be covering a few games that happened this week and some NBA trades at the end. The Celtics visited Philly and swept the walkthrough the first three quarters and ended up rallying after a 26-point deficit with 14 minutes left in the game. They ended up winning 118-110, outscoring Philly obviously by 34 if you do the math. And this game was definitely pretty dead in the water. Like, it was a hard watch. It's the one you turn your TV off for. And Tatum and Brown started to turn up a little bit. Hauser had some threes early in the fourth quarter that kind of started changing the tide, giving them some momentum. Brown had some threes early, and then Tatum had some layups in the mid-third quarter to make it, like, kind of a game. And then he just ends up obliterating them in the fourth quarter. So, Chambers, what do you think about this game? What are your takeaways?
I mean, yeah, it's been classic Celtics basketball. The first 2-3 quarters, you show up against a team without Joel Embiid, without their starters, and we sleepwalk, like Smyers said, through the first few quarters. Bad transition defense, hucking a lot of threes, not really getting to the rim. I mean, Joel Embiid's out, so we should score a lot of points in the paint in that game, and we really don't. At least early, we don't. But I mean, after we're down 26, I feel like Joe Mazzulla makes a statement at halftime. Tatum in his presser after the game Joe basically said, if you guys don't start playing, I'm going to put the bench in and you guys can watch. And then Tatum starts to take over, obviously. He's always a killer against Philly, comes around the screen, likes to take that three off the high Porzingis screen. And he did a good job in that game. I mean, he got hot late. I don't really enjoy how many threes he's been taking lately. Honestly, he averages like 10, 11, 12 a game right now. I wish that he would get to the rack more. He's, 6'8"?
Yeah.
6'9".
6'8".
But his shooting percentage, I want to say, is down this year. His jump shot looked great the first couple of games after he tweaked it, and now it looks the same. But, yeah, I mean, overall, it's a good comeback, but we never should get ourselves in that hole against that team.
Yeah, my experience of tweaking your jump shot is that it doesn't immediately translate to, like, ridiculous success, especially during a grueling 82-game season where he plays absolutely every single game. And there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be awkward moments where you don't feel warmed up and you don't feel the familiarity of the new form. So, yeah, and also it feels like he got the better at shooting. Obviously, his three-point got better. His attempts are higher. That's why his percentages are more down.
Right.
It feels like that's the only way he wants to score now, like, especially during December. And, like, he only wants to shoot that contested pull-up three and instead of drive. And, like we could watch the 51-point game he had in Game 7 where he's doing absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Like, he started off the game with, like, a Russell Westbrook cross into a dunk. And
you also have to think about how our shooters are around him. We went through a big shooting slump early in December, and I think Tatum at that point kind of started to take the ball and take it more into his own hands and stopped. I mean, he's a driving kick guy. We used to move the ball a lot, and I feel like he's doing a lot less of that this year because we're not shooting the ball well. Like, I mean, we miss a lot of wide open shots this year.
And I feel like a turning point in this game also that didn't really seem like the biggest turning point, but it could be when their former teammate, the Dancing Bear, Yerjan Yabusele, had a dunk and posterized, I believe, Jason Tatum. And I don't think you saw this one, but he started banging his chest like a gorilla and screaming, and, like, it looked like yeah, that's probably it. This is ridiculous. And then all of a sudden Tatum starts obliterating him. Like, he's pissed. And then all of a sudden, going to the fourth quarter, instead of being down by like 30 and putting the bench, you're down by 14 after Jaylen Brown layup. I believe Derek White stole the pass after a missed layup to end the quarter, and it got cut down to there. Brown hit some threes. Hauser hit some threes in the fourth quarter. That was big time. And then Tatum took it home. Derek White hit some big ones too when Tatum started getting doubled. There's a play, Nick Nurse. He was getting doubled to get the ball out of Tatum's hands. He's like, yes, and to leave Derek White wide open though.
Yep.
So he hit Derek White. He hits a three, and he's still after that. Like, that's what we got to do.
Yeah, I mean,
And
overall, it's an efficient comeback. Derek White shoots over 50%. Tatum shoots over 50%. Hauser shoots over 50%. The plus minus says it all. Jaylen Brown plus 17, Hauser plus 18, Cornette plus 17. Tatum's a plus 2. Derek White's a plus 2. Everybody else is in the negative. So obviously that starity group in Hauser and Cornette, especially with no Pritchard, that's a big game out of Sam Hauser.
yeah, feels good because he's been dealing with the back issues. It looks like it's been changing his jump shot. Like some games he comes in not healthy, and he looks like he's shooting with a broken back. Has a little bit of the lift with his shot with the top of his shoulders, but yeah, they closed the closing lineup that Joe kept out there for like a really long period of time, from midway through the third quarter to pretty much 4 to 3 minutes left in the fourth, was Holiday, Tatum, Brown, Hauser, and Luke Cornette. Because Porzingis wasn't great, Horford wasn't great. Horford couldn't hit anything, and Porzingis was missing 15 footers, I believe, this entire road trip.
That drives me nuts about this team right now. Is I feel like we get in great spots and we get to like the elbow of the free throw line and miss 15 footers over and over again. And people get mad when we shoot 53s. But if we're gonna miss 15 footers, what's the difference in missing a 15 footer and missing a 3-point shot?
Well, the difference of it is that teams are guarding us different from last year, and they're really trying to take away the three ball.
That's
like
fair.
They're guarding us like it's the playoffs. Because think about it, if you're playing imagine if you and me were on a basketball team, we're playing the Celtics, and we don't want to get fucking embarrassed. We're gonna play like it's the playoffs.
Right.
That's what they're doing. They don't want to lose by 40 like everybody else did to us last year.
Every team shows up when they play the Celtics this year. Absolutely.
Especially in the Garden. But let's move on to the next game. The Cleveland game. The Celtics went to Cleveland to take on the number 1 seeded Cavs. It was a real slugfest. No one could make anything the whole game. Missing layups, Darius Garland. It might be the worst player to ever play against the Celtics when he plays against the Celtics.
Yeah, I mean, what was it, 4-4 after 6 minutes in the first quarter of that game?
Brown had the first 12, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
And he won 112-105. Derek White clutches up at the end, hitting every single shot to close it out.
What a shooting night.
Yep. And Jaylen Brown gets into foul trouble, so they have to close with Peyton Pritchard, who did a pretty good job defensively, which is the most thing I was scared about against the Cavs.
I mean, again, talk about a big bench night, man. I mean, all the starters are in the negatives. Tatum's a +1, but I mean, when you have that Jason Tatum and bench crew out there, Jason Tatum, Peyton Pritchard, Al Horford, Sam Hauser, Luke Cornette, you look at Peyton Pritchard +19, Al Horford +19, Sam Hauser +18, Luke Cornette +10. That says a lot about the game.
Kristaps and Tatum both started out 3 for 14.
Yeah.
But, defensively, they all brought it. Like, they got up for this game. They looked like the Celtics of old. It looked like they could get away with trading Jaden Springer.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks as this team picks and chooses when to play defense, because when they do play defense, they look like a really good team.
They really pick and choose to play both sides, because the days they missed, like, those shots like we saw last night against Dallas, it feels like they're not playing with the same energy and enthusiasm and identity. Kristaps Porzingis said it after the Toronto game. We're not playing with any personality.
Yeah, I think it's a big tell that we've went on 3 road trips. Our last 3 road trips, we've come back, and each time we've lost our first game at the Garden.
Hardest thing in basketball.
We have a better record on the road than we do at home right now, I believe.
Yeah, but Scalabrini says it. He knows more than us. But the hardest game in the NBA, other than 5 games in 7 nights, the 5th game in 7 nights, is coming back from a long road trip and playing at home.
Yeah.
That's when you're the most rusty.
Al Horford on the glass against the Cavs, too. 10 rebounds.
Yeah.
That was a big game for him.
I think it was like 13 points, too.
Yeah. 10 rebounds, 13 points.
Started out 0 for 5.
Yeah. He could not shoot, and then he hit some big ones late.
It's better when you can't shoot and nobody else can shoot. Like, you blend in with the crowd.
But, I mean, huge fourth quarter out of Derek White. The Celtics always pull out to a 15-point lead at the end of the third quarter against a good team, and then end up letting him get back. I think it got back down to, 4? Might even have been 2 at one point.
It was 4. And Donovan Mitchell continues to, like, if you only watch Celtics games, you'd probably think he's a top 5 player of all time.
Well, it was the game in December that he went like 5 for 5 and had 20 points in the fourth quarter, right?
Didn't miss.
And we were doubling him. Yeah, again, that was frustrating.
Again, it was more Garland that kind of brought him back late. But Evan Mobley was clearly taken out of this game. He's having a career year this season.
Yeah, I mean, we played great defense early. I mean, we didn't let them shoot the ball where they wanted to shoot the ball.
They benched him for Georges Niang. That guy's terrible.
The minivan.
That guy's terrible. He is too big to play be on the floor with the guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. That is a mismatch.
And again, another post early in that game, Donovan Mitchell on KP, right?
Yeah. Well, KP also before that got like a bunch of crazy blocks. So respect for him to being under there, even though
Yeah, I mean it's gonna happen absolutely. If you're gonna be a rim protector in this league, you're gonna.
he got one back yesterday.
He did. You're gonna get put on some posters. But I mean, all in all, in that game, it's a big fourth quarter out of Derek White. I mean, he's come out of his shooting slump for sure. 6 of 12. He's shooting about 50% from three every night now, and that's huge for us because he needs to be our third option scoring, especially when Porzingis isn't playing well like he is right now.
I think Porzingis has to be the third option scoring because you have three guys on this court that you're trying to jam them with mismatches. Like you get Porzingis on a small guy, you get Tatum on a small guy, you get Brown on a small guy. Those are the three guys that you should be playing through. And Derek White and Drew just spacing and playmaking and setting the table and setting screens to get the switches. That's how it should start. But if Derek White's hot, Derek White's hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean a high screen and roll with Porzingis. If you can get Porzingis on a smaller guy who's guarding Tatum and get Tatum on a big, I mean either one of those two options.
Tatum on the left wing for a pull up.
Yeah, I think we're gonna take any time down the floor.
And yeah, this game was pretty down to the wire.
I think it's an Eastern Conference Finals preview.
I don't think they make it past the second round, the Cavs.
Who do you think beats them?
Anyone. I think the East is tougher than people think. Like, the Pistons are in the top 6 right now.
The Pistons are a good basketball team.
Not for the playoffs, though.
I think that if the 76ers can get healthy, Joel Embiid is always, I mean, yeah, he's hurt a lot, but he's always a good basketball player.
Actually, the Pistons are not they're in right outside of looking in at the 7 spot.
So they'd be in a play-in situation right now.
Yep, they've lost 2 in a row, but the Magic are also guys who have taken a step back this season because of injury.
Yeah, I think that they're always good. Poncaro's a good basketball player.
Yeah. All right, we'll go to last night's game.
Last night against the Dallas Mavericks.
That was tough. Celtics got crushed by Dallas by a deceiving score of 127 to 120.
Yeah, a very deceiving score.
It was a lack of effort. Another dud in the road since December 15th or December 1st. When did they start going to the slump? December 1st?
Yeah, it was around then. After that Cavs loss when Donovan Mitchell.
No, it was after it started the Bulls game. Zach LaVine went off.
Right before the Cavs game is what you're saying.
Yeah. Remember LaVine hit all those threes, and then we were starting to come back when we got 2 technical fouls.
Yep. Yes. Joe Mazzulla got one, right? Is that the game that he tried to fight the ref?
Tatum and Joe.
Is that the game that Joe Mazzulla tried to fight the ref?
He tried to fight the ref, and they asked him after the game, what were you trying to tell him? Like, I was trying to tell him Happy
Merry
Holidays.
Christmas,
'Cause I didn't know if I'd see him, like, after the holidays. After he's being held back by 5 guys saying Merry Christmas. But they lost this game. I feel like the keys of losing this game to me was lack of effort. I think Jaylen Brown was, if you ignore the defense, was good in this game.
I think Jaylen Brown, yeah, out of the starters, I think he probably played the best.
Pritchard probably played the best out of all of them.
This was a very poor Jason Tatum game.
Yeah, if you hold him to, I feel like Porzingis, to me, whenever anyone drove to the paint, he would just swipe down and foul them and give up an and one.
Yeah.
I think Joe had a really bad game putting Sam Hauser on Klay Thompson when Hauser was sagging off of Klay Thompson, just giving him mid-range shots.
Klay Thompson couldn't miss, man.
And that's what really put the game away. And there's 2 plays that come to mind where Tatum drove on Gafford. And he just loses the ball off the ground, like he hit a dead spot or whatever.
Yeah. There were like 2 or 3 plays early where Tatum turns it over like that, and then
Derek White got a rebound, and then the ball just got swiped down. He loses it. KP had the ball when the game was late in the third quarter. He was holding it like this, and then Kyrie just comes in, swipes it, bounces off his leg out of bounds.
Yeah, there were several times in that game where it's just like lack of concentration. Like I mean, Tatum loses the handle a bunch of times in that game. Like there was one late where Pritchard somebody gets an offensive rebound or gets a steal, and then Pritchard starts running the floor, turns it over, and then the Mavs come back and hit a 3 up a man because they
Defensively,
turnover.
I believe was the ultimate issue because how many points they gave up. But how do you think Torrey Craig can fit into the mix? You think he cracks the rotation immediately?
Oof. I think he plays over Jordan Walsh. I think he plays over Tillman. I think he plays.
Well, everyone plays over Tillman.
Yeah.
I could play over Tillman. He's the last guy right now.
Yeah, I think that he. It's going to be interesting because it's not like Jordan Walsh gets a lot of minutes. It's not like Jaden Springer got a lot of minutes. The only reason Jaden Springer was playing was for trade value.
Dude, if you went into this season and said Drew Peterson, I think he's going to play more than Xavier Tillman.
I would have laughed at you.
And he's so good.
Drew Peterson is good.
He's so good.
All right. So, we've talked about the bad things about that game last night.
What are the good things? Do you have any?
The bench. Late. Did you watch the end of the game?
The bench points were pretty uneven towards it. I watched the end of the game when it was garbage time.
Well, I'm not saying I think our bench was terrible early in the actual game. Early they were awful. Peyton Pritchard ends with 21 points, but he scored 11 in garbage time. But
yeah.
I think this is a lot of people are questioning Joe Mazzulla lately and his coaching. I disagree with that take. I think the bench comes in last night. You finally put in Keita, which I think Keita should be in that game more. Daniel Gaffer, I don't think Luke.
Keita has moments where you don't play him the whole game. And, you get smacked in the face, and he comes in and just scores 10 points with ease, and it's like, where was this?
Yeah, and then there's games where you actually play him, and he sucks.
It's because Luke is always in the right spot. Kate is the better player, but Luke is always in the right spot.
Yeah, I think Luke has more basketball IQ for sure. But, I just think that's a Keita game. Luke Cornett's a -20 on the night. I don't think that he can defend Daniel Gaffer. Gaffer's too big for Luke, in my opinion. How many rebounds did Daniel Gaffer
Well, you know who's guarding him in the finals, right?
Guarding Gaffer?
Yeah.
Who?
Jason Tatum.
Yeah. Daniel Gafford ends the night with 15 rebounds.
Yeah. I told my friend to bet not touch that. It was 9.5. I'm like, I don't know.
I would have taken the over.
Instead, I chose Jaylen Brown over and I hit. It was 17.5.
I don't know. Your bench crew of Pritchard, Hauser, Keita, Walsh, and Drew Peterson come in that game late. Down 26 with 9 minutes. That's a statement. You sit the starters with 9 minutes to go. We just came back from down 26.
It was a little different though.
Yeah, well, we weren't playing well, but
the third quarter was a 14-point lead at the end of the third.
The Mavericks had their starters in the game still with 9 minutes to go. The only starter who wasn't on the floor was Daniel Gaffer. Kyrie was still in, Clay was still in.
Super Bowl 65 this season.
Dante Exum was still in, and our bench comes in and they cut it down to 10 within 6 minutes. Taking good shots, cutting to the basket, getting to the hoop, getting stops. Kyrie scored 2 points in the fourth quarter, I think. Peyton Pritchard and Jordan Walsh were locking his up.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Jordan Walsh to this point because
I don't see many differences between him and Jaden Springer, honestly, except for he's younger.
He can shoot the ball better.
I think so.
Jaden Springer might be the best defender I've ever seen in my entire life.
He is a very good defender. And he's explosive. He can get to the hoop.
I've never seen a player come into the game and impact the way defensely than he has.
That boy can jump.
Like Marcus Smart and Avery Bradley. It's the most insane.
Avery Bradley's a great comparison to Jordan Walsh. I forgot about him.
Jaden Springer is the strongest. If you run into him, it looks like you hit a brick wall.
Dude, Avery Bradley used to be my favorite player.
My favorite player was Isaiah Thomas during that time.
I loved it. But Avery Bradley, man, I used to go in 2K and I would just try and score with Avery Bradley 50
Probably
points.
Pretty hard.
Yeah, he wasn't, but I agree. I think Jordan Walsh and Avery Bradley are very similar players. If Jordan Walsh can develop a 3-point jumper, I think that he could actually be a versatile person for this team. Yeah, he's gotten much better at it.
He has good form, which is a good thing. Antoine Watson might be able to turn into something too. They have so many Al Horford replacement options.
Yeah.
And Jordan Walsh can potentially be one of them with how the game's going. Everyone becoming smaller and just quicker.
And he's gonna put weight on. He's the same. He's basically the same size as Tatum was when Tatum came to the league. Look at Tatum right now.
Scal made a prediction that Tatum will play the 5 towards the end of his career because of how much the game will develop. He said this last year because he started developing for the post game. When they started in post ups was with Gasell.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is awesome for Tatum's career. It'll prolong his career, and he can play in center.
Tatum can play any position 1 through 5. Tatum could, like you said in the finals, guard Gafford. Tatum can guard bigs. Tatum can rebound over bigs.
Their numbers are really bad, though, when he's there's no center out there, and he's playing the 5. It's better when it's there's a roam man.
Yeah. If he puts the effort in, I think it can be good. But it's about how much he actually tries.
So do you think back to Torrey Craig, do you think he could potentially play over Sam Hauser in the playoffs if game 3 of the finals and it's like, oh, Sam Hauser's questionable with a back injury?
Y- y- yes.
Colin O'Shea Brissett, Torrey Craig.
I kind of wanted us to find O'Shea Brissett back. But also Ben Simmons just got bought out. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up at.
I would have liked Javonte Green because he's good friends with Tatum.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think that Torrey Craig is a bona fide bench player in the league. He has been a bench player ever since he came in the league. He averages 6 points each year of his career.
40% from 3.
Right, 40% from 3,
Somehow.
like 45% from the field. I mean, he's an efficient bench player, and I think that if he doesn't get a chance, then Joe is an idiot.
Joe's not good at giving guys like that chances. We'll go back to the trades throughout his time as a as the coach. Mike Muscala, dead.
Yep, should have gotten a chance.
Jaden Springer, dead. Tillman, dead.
Well, I mean, you basically just traded Jason Springer for Torrey Craig, essentially. I mean, you traded Jason Springer in a second, or
And
Jaden
you saved
Springer
money.
in a second round. Yeah, and you saved what, $4 million in cap space.
Was it 11 million? I thought it'd be like
No,
the
I think
minimum.
it was 4.
It was 4.
4 for Jaden Springer. Like, you got rid of that contract. I don't know what they signed Torrey Craig to. It was probably vet minimum.
Yeah, it's a buyout. So
Everybody is hoping that the Wizards are going to buy out Marcus Smart so we could sign him.
dude, imagine 1 year, $8 million. Dude, he played like no games for Memphis.
I don't. Would he fit? Would he even fit in our rotation?
No, he would. He would like. He'd put Pritchard's time would go way down.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't.
Pritchard's a more efficient scorer than Marcus Smart. I
Would've-
love Marcus Smart.
It would have turned out what I thought the rotation was for Lonnie Walker if he made the team. You got Lonnie Walker coming in for the 2 guard, Pritchard coming for the 1.
Yeah, I think Lonnie Walker should have played over Sam Hauser.
Nice. They do different things.
Lonnie Walker is a really good basketball player to be playing overseas right now.
Hauser, oh yeah, he's way too good for that. He's probably could score 100 a game if he really wanted to.
It's interesting to me that nobody's picked him up. Really, like it's
the
very
second apron.
interesting.
It screws over guys like him.
Yeah.
Because the guys who aren't exactly all-stars or just role players, like he's a high-level role player.
Yeah.
Like low, high-level role player.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of money to buy scoring, and it's not worth it for a lot of other teams.
Yeah.
Even though he's taking 1 year, $8 million with the Boston Celtics, who were trying to get him to play in Maine. Like that's why they were trying to get him to go play in Maine.
Which originally he said he would do.
Yeah, I think he kind of just said that to get along.
Yeah.
Go along to get along.
Anyways, bad loss last night. I hated it. Poor team effort.
Let's go to the NBA trades.
Oh yeah.
A bunch of them. So
Holy.
we'll start off with the haymaker that you called me at 2 a.m. I think it was.
Yeah,
You're
something like that.
Smyers, wake up, please.
What is going on?
Dude, Luka Doncic gets traded.
Luka Doncic to the Lakers.
And Maxi Kleber, that's a bigger one.
What the hell?
And I feel like the NBA treats the Lakers like a beautiful girl when when you're in high school, there's a beautiful girl that anyone would be like, yes, say yes to whatever. That's how the NBA treats the Lakers. They get free players. We got more in return for Marcus Smart. We got more first-round picks for Marcus Smart and Kristaps Porzingis.
Mikal Bridges brought 5 first-round picks.
This is arguably the best player in the NBA. The best scorer of all time, potentially.
And what did they trade for him? Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first?
1 first, yeah.
Was it
We
even
got-
protected?
I don't know that. I'm not big into
Oh
those
my
things,
God.
but we got 2 first-round picks for Marcus Smart and Kristaps Porzingis. How much better is Anthony Davis to Kristaps Porzingis? Not that much.
Different types of players, but output
Same
about
position.
the same. About
They're-
the same type
yeah.
of output.
AD's a little higher. AD's a
A
little
little
higher.
bit.
Like I'd give him a tier higher.
But 80's 32.
Yeah, I believe so. KP's also 29 right now.
Yep. But I mean, 80's 32, Kyrie's 32, Klay Thompson's 34.
29 is like 38 in KP years though.
I mean, to me, that's what makes this loss like even worse is that it happened right after,
Yeah.
that trade. And I mean, as a Red Sox fan, it makes me feel a little better because I
Yeah.
feel like the Mookie Betts trade
Yes, I saw
it's
something
still a
about that.
terrible trade, but it's not as bad. Or maybe it's
John
this
Henry
trade
might buy the
rivals
Celtics.
this trade rivals that.
John Henry might buy the Celtics off
No.
of Wicks.
Well, then you can
Wow.
kiss
He
the
might.
Celtics goodbye.
I saw a meme actually. You bring up the Red Sox. It was like, well, if this makes Dallas fans feel any better, the same thing happened to the Red Sox, and we reboot really well. Oh wait, never mind. We go 82 and 82 every year and make the playoffs 1 out of every 5.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, last year they were 500 exactly. I think this year they'll be a little better, but
they added a lot of pitching, so I think that they'll do better.
yeah, Crochet and Bueller will help, I think. But
So that trade for the Lakers standpoint, I told you that
Massive one.
I think it hurts them this season, but it won't like later for building the team.
Yeah,
They don't have Jackson Hayes their starting center at the time. LeBron and Luka don't catch and shoot. But then they go and trade Mike Williams, who's a very good young center.
Dalton Knecht getting traded is interesting. I
Yeah.
think I probably would have rather traded Austin Reeves
No,
personally. You don't
no.
think so?
No, Dalton Knecht is going to be a good player, but Austin Reeves, he's more versatile.
All right.
It's like he's kind of like a Derek White.
Yeah. He's a good basketball player.
Who doesn't need a Derek White in their life?
I mean, Luka and LeBron is scary though, man. It really is. But that's an insane trade to me. I mean, you can't tell me that man, there are so many players better than Anthony Davis that you could have called for, I think.
There's no way there wasn't another team that would give you more. And it seemed like such a trade where it's like, I don't know what to do. My player doesn't want to be here. My superstars want to be here. I'm just going to send him off. And he is an introverted Slovenian who only place he lived in America was Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
And he loved being in Dallas, Texas. Remember that thing where he had the cowboy hat on? He's like, I'm a Texan.
Yeah.
Yes, I have this. So, and the report was, at least he reported, he bought a $15 million house the day he got traded.
Yeah,
He walked
right
in
before it. Yeah.
and heard the news, and he started crying.
Yeah.
well, to me, what's even more crazy about that trade too is just that they went to the finals last year. I mean,
He
less
was
than
the
a year
guy.
ago,
He was
Yeah.
the guy for it.
and he was. Yeah, I mean, I don't
And
know.
The
Doesn't-
blueprint's right out in front of them. Celtics lost 2 years ago, pretty much at the same age Tatum wasn't that Luka was when he lost,
Right.
and they win 2 years later.
Yep.
They added Klay Thompson, perfect fit. When he played this year, they looked like the best team in the West.
Yeah. I mean, and you also have to think about, conditioning issues, sure, but Luka Doncic led the league in minutes last year, I think.
And
Led
he
the
plays.
postseason in minutes,
He's
yeah.
not Zion.
Right. I mean, he got hurt. Sure, he got hurt this year, but I think that this is the first time that he's missed extended time in a while.
He's hurt because he played all those games in the finals
Yeah.
injured
Yeah.
because of the Lou Dort series. Where
Right.
he's throwing him, and then
Yeah.
he plays in the Olympics.
Yeah, and Luka Doncic is a really good basketball player. That's an insane trade to me. I mean, that's a guy you build your franchise around, not trade away.
And I'm gonna be honest, I feel I could be saying this because I feel sympathy for him getting traded. His defense isn't as bad as it should be in the finals because he was playing through those injuries where he had like the heating pads on his ribs,
Yeah.
some of the broken ribs or whatever it was.
I mean, look at his defense in the finals and Tatum's defense right now, and tell me what the difference is.
Oh, there's a lot. At least he moves with the guy.
Who, Tatum?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, transitional defense?
I mean, transitional defense is a little different. Like Luka wouldn't play defense in half court. Like you just stand there and let
He
him
didn't
go.
play much defense at all.
Tatum's not doing a lot of things, dude. If the three's not falling, then he's like kind of checked out.
Yeah.
He's that thing where like, and then they're so corporate after these games. It's like if they told him what they really feel, they'd be like, "Yeah, to be honest, we played the Mavs who just traded Luka, and we have the Knicks next games, and we just played the Cavs.
I mean,
I don't really care about the Mavs."
I mean, I think that Joe Mazzulla is sort of playing the sandbox. I mean, there was a stretch when we were struggling in that slump that we were in, where we took like five straight games where we shot like 53s, and then we came out. I don't remember what game it was, but we came out in one game, and I want to say we shot like 30 of them, and just went to the basket the whole
Minnesota?
game. Probably, yes.
Start the road trip, then
Yes.
they won. That's the last time they won 3 in a row.
Yep, went to the
before
basket
this.
the whole game, didn't shoot many threes, and won.
Derek White with that high banking 3 to end the game.
Yeah, like I mean, it's just like he's literally playing. I talk to my brother about this all the time. I think that he's trying to see how many threes they can shoot and still win a basketball game.
I think it's also a good thing to do when you're trying to, what's the word? like rest guys. What's the word for NBA terms? Like Kawhi does it a lot. Load manage.
Yeah, load manage guys.
If you shoot more threes, you're gonna hit less. So
Which I think that we are.
that's what Tatum does.
I think that we're load managing a little bit more this year than we have in the past. I mean, you see guys definitely sitting out more than they have. I feel like than last year, and definitely than the Golden State year. I think Joe Mazzulla learned his lesson in that year that we lost to Golden State in the finals. Like, you need to rest your guys a little bit.
Tatum and Drew, they load manage in game. I've never seen it before. Like Drew Holiday was the worst defender last year and during the regular season. I hated Drew Holiday except for the corner threes he started hitting.
Corner three.
And then all of a sudden in the playoffs, KP gets hurt. He becomes our third best player by far.
Man, there was a lot, huh? All right, you want to talk about the next trades?
Yeah. All right, we'll go to
That trade was insane.
Let's go to a smaller one, which is funny to call it a smaller one. Chris Middleton, Kyle Kuzma.
Chris Middleton is a great basketball player. Kyle Kuzma is a good role player, maybe. I mean, I think that he was a decent role player for the Lakers. I don't know. I think it was an okay trade for both teams. I think the Bucks needed to end their Chris Middleton tenure because he wasn't helping them. And I mean, maybe it's an okay option to bring in Kyle Kuzma. Maybe you get a little bit more spacing on the floor and maybe a little bit more shooting. But I mean, he's also shooting. What did I say to you? 28% from three this year.
He was 40% on the Lakers, I believe.
Yeah. So I don't know. It could be I'm on the Wizards, I'm not going to try type of deal.
Well, it's not. I'm not going to try. It's like I got this shit team around me, and I'm not this high-volume shooter.
Right.
And I have to shoot these shots because we are not doing anything right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a big one. I mean, it's nice. It's nice for Kuzma to actually go play on a decent team again.
And he has to make up for Jordan Poole's jacking up shots.
Oh, my God. Jordan Poole is
better this year. But I feel bad for Chris Middleton in this trade. You know, you pretty much in my basketball team my summer, I'm the number 2 option, but I'm the only one that can shoot. So down the stretch, I have to take the majority of the jump shots. So he did exactly that with Giannis and him, and they won the championship off of it.
I think
And
they didn't win a championship while Dame was there, right?
no, that was Drew.
That was Drew. I think that was a terrible trade for the Bucks. Getting rid of Drew Holiday was stupid.
Yeah, I mean, he is old, though, but Dame is older.
Yeah.
Or Dame isn't older. Dame's a little younger. But
Dame doesn't play defense, and Dame doesn't have the same impact that Drew Holiday has.
he trains with David Goggins, though.
Yeah. Giannis can score 50 a game, but Dame can't play defense, and Drew could.
And Chris, going back to Chris Middleton part, the only reason he got traded, he can't stay healthy, and it was a bunch of freak stuff that he kept going through.
Yeah.
So yeah, the next trade, Mike Williams got out of the Lakers. We don't need to talk about that one.
How about the
Jimmy
Spurs?
Butler,
Okay, Jimmy Butler first.
because we're Celtics fans.
I mean,
Jimmy Butler for Andrew Wiggins feels like
the same person.
mm,
I mean, I guess Jimmy Butler is a great basketball player, but how old is Jimmy Butler? 36?
no, he's not 36.
35?
He's 35, I think.
He's gotta be up there.
Jimmy Butler age. Google says he's 35.
Yeah, I told you he's not 36.
So, I mean, Jimmy Butler has what? 3 or 4 more decent years of playing basketball?
In May, yeah.
Like, I don't know. And they signed him to an extension, so he's with the Warriors for 3 more years now.
You never know. If he doesn't get hurt, maybe we got first rounded and no one's hearing it this season.
But I don't know. I mean, I watched the Warriors-Lakers game last night, and that was a tough watch. I mean, LeBron dropped 42 and 17.
Did he play?
No, but Curry took 34 shots. I mean, that's how the Warriors have to win right now. Curry has to score 35 or 40 a night, and sometimes he has to take 35 shots to do that.
I think they should move Draymond to the bench if Jimmy's going to start.
Possibly. I think Draymond is really important for that team right now, though.
Yeah, I think if they move him to the bench, he could really play the backup 5 and
But
just demolish.
I think it's a great return for the Heat. Andrew Wiggins is a good basketball player, I think.
Yeah, and Tatum's probably tossing and turning. That's why he was drinking a lot. Andrew Wiggins is on the Heat.
Yeah, I mean, if the Heat make the playoffs, they're going to make a run, man. Tyler Hero, Andrew Wiggins, and Bam Adebayo. Come on. It's the Heat, man.
Dude, Bam has the most missed layups in the NBA right
Duncan
now.
Robinson shoots. I mean,
I'm so scared of Duncan Robinson.
I'm telling you, you should be.
I'm so
Just
terrified
wait.
of Duncan. Derek White figured out the backdoor cuts, all right? He figured out, don't let Jimmy Neutron run past you. He doesn't just shoot threes.
I mean, you guys were talking about Celtics Cavs earlier as a potential Eastern Conference Finals. I could see Celtics Heat. I mean, just you never know with the Heat it feels like in the playoffs.
Well, it's because of
Never
Jimmy.
do.
It was because of Jimmy and Spo. They don't have Jimmy
Yeah,
anymore.
but you
But,
never
yeah,
know.
they
We
could
saw
always
what
get
happened.
hot.
Can you name any differences between Andrew Wiggins and Hayward Highsmith?
Yes, Andrew Wiggins scores the basketball way better.
I guess ideally in 2K he does.
I think the Heat just got better.
I think the Jimmy Butler era was very annoying, and it's like you get in a fight and you think back on the fight. I wish I did this, and now it's like he's gone.
They were never gonna win a finals with Jimmy Butler. They didn't have a chance.
You beat him once, and it felt kind of like you got let out the wood with that missed three, and then that game 7 happened. Even being down 3-0 made me feel like I was in the depths of.
The frustrating part about that series was we were the way better basketball team.
We're the better basketball team in every single series so far we've played in the Tatum and Brown era.
But, I mean, like you said, the Heat can get hot. I mean, any team can get hot in the playoffs. You never know.
Yeah, but I don't think they have the horses to hang with the Celtics.
I think that Pacers series last year could have went either way, too. I mean, look at the Pacers in Game 2. They turned the ball over like 3 times and gave us 3 chances to tie that game and go into overtime. Was it Game 1?
Yeah, Game 2 was Jaylen Brown scores 40 points.
I mean, imagine we lose that Game 1. You never know where that series goes.
Well, 3 and 4 were comebacks. I think 4 was just a tight game, but 3 was the 18-point comeback.
Yeah. I mean, it's about small moments, and I mean, yeah. All right. Spurs acquired De'Aaron Fox from the Kings.
My friend's a Spurs fan. He likes this trade.
So the Spurs get De'Aaron Fox. All right. So here's where this is absolutely insane to me. Luka Doncic, you get AD and 1 first rounder. You ready for this? The Spurs get De'Aaron Fox. The Kings get Zach LaVine, 3 first rounders and 3 second rounders.
I like how the Bulls are like, we can jump in on this and give Zach LaVine away for nothing.
Yeah. And the Bulls get Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones, and a 2025 first. I mean, I think it's a decent trade for each team. I think the Kings getting 3 first-round picks out of that is huge, though.
It's good for them if Cooper Flagg doesn't declare for the draft this season.
Yes, I would agree. But, I mean, it's a great trade for the Spurs, I think. The Spurs gave up a few first-rounders and Trey Jones and Kevin Huerter, right?
Yeah, Trey Jones is like, especially when you have Chris Paul and De'Aaron Fox, who sounds like Chris Paul should be here for 1 more year, then that's like, you don't need Trey Jones.
That's a scary team in the West now.
Yeah, maybe you could sign a guy like Cam Payne, like some vet backup guard once Chris Paul is gone.
Yeah,
Malcolm Brogdon.
That, to me, is a team that a lot of teams in the West are going to be scared of.
Yeah, well, it's not a whole lot of defense in the backcourt. I don't really think De'Aaron Fox is a great defender, even though he has amazing speed, and Chris Paul is small and old. But they should go all in for that 6th spot. Especially, I like their starting 5. It's fun. They got a little bit. It's like cute. De'Aaron Fox, Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, Wemby. Who's starting at the 4 for them? Sohan?
Yeah. I like
Sohan?
him. He's good.
Last year I called him the worst starter in basketball. I think he got a little bit better.
He did get a little bit better.
But Devin Vassell. Devin Vassell is starting.
Okay.
So Harrison Barnes is at the 4. I remember seeing that. It's Vassell at the 3 because he's tall enough to play that. And there were a few more trades like Marcus Smart getting traded for nothing.
Yeah, that's upsetting. Marcus Smart goes to the Wizards. It's going to rot. I mean, now you're stuck there for at least a couple of years, right?
I think his contract should be running out soon.
But, I mean, problem with a guy like Marcus Smart, he's been hurt a lot on the Grizzlies. He doesn't play as much of a vital role as he did when he was on the Celtics. He's going to want a decent amount of money, and nobody's going to really want to pay him. I think it's going to be the issue.
Well, you take a big cut to play for the Celtics once they have to trade everybody because they have to pay $750 million to keep this thing together.
I mean, they just signed everyone to 3 or 4 year deals, so it'll be interesting to see how they try and deal with that.
I think Al retires, they trade Holiday for something, and then they let KP walk.
Yeah, I don't think KP stays with the Celtics for much. Like, I think he plays out this contract, and I don't think they're going to sign him again.
Just 2 more years.
Yeah. I don't think they can afford it.
They can't afford any. I mean, you could just say, screw it, and just go all in on Tatum and trade Jaylen Brown for a haul. But I want to keep those 2 and build around them.
I think that's a conversation for another episode.
Yeah.
Because that one could last a while.
Yeah, that could open a whole new can of worms.
Yes, it could.
So, I think we kind of touched on this a little bit. What do you think the issue is with the Celtics, you know? you've heard a lot about these games so far through us, and you think it could be like coaching or just the players?
I think it's more on the players overall. I think they have to get going again. I mean, they're still overall having a really good year, despite some of the challenges since the start of December. And really all that matters is just that you get hot kind of at the right time. I mean, that goes for any sport, not just basketball. So, I think they could be okay. I think they could certainly make it back to the finals again this year and maybe even win 2 in a row. I just hope for them that it's not like kind of where they were in 07, 08 when they got, the big 3 and stuff, and then they made the finals again in 2010 and lost. And, they probably could have had more than just that championship in 08, but they didn't make it happen. So hopefully it's not a similar scenario to that, but I could certainly see them back in the finals again.
Yeah, back then it was a little different because that team was like gangster.
Mm.
That was like
Those guys were crazy, man.
KG. Like if they were, Scalabrini tells stories all the time. So it's like this feels like the 08 team last year, where they started the season in 09, and they felt like themselves they were better than the previous year. And they lost, like, I think it was Posey and Cassell.
Yeah.
They lost 2 wing defenders off the bench, and they had the KG injury, and that he came back, was never the same.
Mm.
So here it's like they're just kind of taking for granted what's happening. Like they don't want to play as hard.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics are 4 games worse than they were last year at this point. I mean, you have 4 more losses. I think the biggest issue is we're playing down to our opponents a lot. Last year we were blowing teams out by 30. But you also have to realize that when you're the NBA champion, everybody wants to come in and beat you, man. I mean, Klay Thompson drops 23 in the first half last night. What's his name? The Sixers guard.
Maxey.
Tyrese Maxey drops 27 in the first half when we play them. Like, teams are going to come out hot against us, man. Everybody. Every team's going to give you their best shot.
But they were used to it. Remember when they made the finals in 2022 and they came out and, like, they're kind of still viewed as the best team.
Yep.
So everyone wanted to beat the Celtics. But I'll wrap it up with this. My thoughts on the effort level. In 2023, in 2021, really, they didn't play with any effort. They weren't responding to Brad Stevens. They had a lot of injuries and COVID stuff. But they were 500, and then they flip the switch. Ime gets the little bit of fire under them.
Great
season.
coach.
And then 2023, their threes aren't going in. They won't try. They won't really try. They lost games. Like remember that season, end of the year, they said they wanted the 1 seed. They beat the Bucks, and then they go out and lose to the Wizards.
Yeah.
They get dismantled by Kristaps Porzingis. And
that's why we traded for him, eh?
And they lose game 5 to Atlanta the way they did. They lose game. I'll give them game 3 was not the worst loss. They blow game 1 with no Embiid. This teams take after their best player.
Yeah.
And I guess Brown's a vocal leader. Tatum and Brown have to bring it every night for them to be able to. Like Derek White feels like a good chronometer for like who they are. If Derek White's playing good, the Celtics are probably playing good
as a team, yeah.
But Tatum and Brown have to bring it every night on both ends.
Yeah.
That's a responsibility
absolutely.
to have to carry with the burden. And then after seeing all those trades that happened after the season, after they lost in the conference finals, I think they knew that like it's win or die.
Yeah, win or you're gonna go somewhere else.
Win or die. 'Cause they pretty much should they could have blown it up like this, like, hey, this isn't working. Trade one of the Jays. They're like, no, we're gonna change the combination around them.
Yeah.
And it worked. But now maybe they feel a little bit of like we won the championship. Relax. Like we can flip the switch when we want to.
And they can, but they need to keep the switch on all the time. I
That's
think.
not good mojo though. You can't just flip a switch once the playoffs come around.
Right.
Unless if you're that much better. Like the NBA has gotten better.
Yeah, I mean every team has improved. I mean people want to beat us.
Yeah. I think that's it. Right? Wrap it up.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's just hard to repeat anyway, whether it's the NBA or any other sport. Like,
There's been a repeat since the Warriors.
Yeah.
Parity lately. There has been a team since the Warriors that has won the championship that has made it past the second round.
Yeah.
Well, and also, just there's that championship. I don't think they've had a championship hangover necessarily because they're still playing pretty good.
I think Team USA plays a role.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
4 of those guys were part of that. Derek White, Drew Holiday, Tatum played. Peyton Pritchard was on the
younger roster, whatever it was.
scout team.
Yep.
But yeah, what were you saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to repeat in any league, certainly, and but I don't think really they've had too bad a championship hangover. I mean, four losses less than last year. They were really good last year, so I think it can be hard to replicate that year over year. And like I said, all that matters is that you're playing good at the end. You're playing good in late this month, late February into March, and then as we get into the playoffs in April. So that's really all they got to worry about, in my opinion.
And they gotta figure out to get the starting 5 playing like they did last year. For some reason, it just like the numbers have been better. Like when they first came out, you saw the huge negative. There was a huge negative when Porzingis was a single center when he first came back. Like there was no Horford or Cornette out with him. But they need to figure out that they need to be aggressive with the starting 5 because KP came back. They're kind of soft. Like they're kind of like, okay, we're gonna play unselfish basketball, but we're gonna be like not aggressive. Like we're just gonna like play through the motions.
Yeah.
They gotta someone's gotta put their foot down and go. And I think it should be the 2 J's.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it was obviously you have bigger pieces around the Jays right now. But when was the last time that both the Jays scored 30 points each in a game?
Probably 2 years ago they did a lot in 2023 season, but they kind of play a little differently now. They have a pretty even shot chart.
Yeah. I think if you have a game where both the Jays are scoring 25 each and you get 10 out of Holiday, 10 out of White, and 15 out of Porzingis, you shouldn't lose that game.
There was a lot of games last year would be like Tatum has 28, Brown has 26, Porzingis has 21.
Yeah.
Porzingis was always at that 20, 21 kind of range. But
I mean, big week coming up, and then obviously the All-Star break will help them. It's nice to take a break, and it'll be important how we come out of the All-Star break. Hopefully we come out hot and we stay hot.
yeah, we'll cover. There's 4 games next week before Friday.
We got Knicks, Spurs.
A lot of them are road.
Yeah.
There's 1 home, I believe, within the 4. They got Knicks and 8. They're 8:30 tomorrow.
Yeah, they get at Knicks, at the Heat, home against the Spurs, and then at the Sixers.
Ooh, that's a spicy schedule. I
That's
wonder
definitely
if Andrew Wiggins will play. When's the Heat game? Is that a
Heat game
Second game, I
game's
think.
Monday night.
I bet Andrew
He'll
Wiggins
play.
plays in that.
Yeah.
That's gonna
Tatum's
be a
get
great game.
back. Dude, I'm about to be frustrated that whole game. I got to start drinking.
All right. Wrap it up. Anything else?
No, that's nothing. I'm good.
Wonderful.